Hey guys, today I want to do something a little bit different than what I'm used to. This isn't a unboxing or a tech review, but I just wanted to talk about a couple items I picked up recently and added to my gear arsenal. I've been holding out on these purchases for quite a while because I'm a firm believer in that you should shoot with what you have, and what you have is good enough, and that's what I've been trying to hold myself accountable for. But I figured it was time to pull the trigger and finally make the purchase on a couple of these items, and I'll get into why a little bit later, but I just kind of wanted to go through them and why I decided to get them and open them up and show you guys how they're going to help me, and maybe talk a little bit about when is the right time to buy gear and when you can just use what you have to do more than you think. First, I want to talk about some of the items I ended up picking up and why each of them found their way into my gear bag and how they're going to be used for the future. Firstly, and most importantly, the biggest purchase I have made other than my camera that I have made since starting this is this right here. The Nikon 50mm 1.8 prime lens. But I've been shooting on the 18 to 55mm 3.5 to 5.6 lens for over a year now, and I figured it was finally time to make the purchase and move on. The 50mm is a solid entry point for a prime lens, and it comes in at a very low cost compared to other lenses, so let me tell you why I ended up making this purchase. I've been looking into this lens for a while, and now while this isn't going to be a full in-depth review, maybe I'll do one, but this was definitely a worthwhile purchase. I just got back from a trip, a family vacation, to Kentucky for 5 days, and this was my main shooting lens. Let me tell you, this thing overperformed my expectations. The 1.8 aperture is the widest I've ever been used to. Like I said, I've been shooting 3.5 forever. Having it wide open let me get the nice bokeh in the background. I was able to shoot at night, no problem with this thing. And its form factor for being a nice lens, without the lens hood, is actually pretty small. In comparison to my other lens, it is a lot smaller because it doesn't extend on the zoom. The 18 to 55 has a little telescoping mechanism in it. This being a prime lens doesn't, and even with the lens hood, only comes out from the camera that much. Also, being a prime lens, it has incredibly crispy shots. The 50mm was perfect to punch in on close-ups people's faces, or even step back, close it down a little more, and be able to get nice, wide, establishing shots of the situation. No problem with this thing. I've been looking into it for a little while, borrowed a 35 for a little bit, loved the open aperture and prime lens aspect, so I decided to go with the nifty 50 for this one, and definitely loving it so far. The vacation video I'm talking about will be rolling out here soon. It's a big edit. I'm super excited, working on it now. But yeah, I shot almost all of it on that lens. Incredible pickup, and for the future, it's definitely going to be my main lens. Claire and I, Claire's my girlfriend, by the way, we have a channel as well. Some of our collaborative projects are up on there. We haven't posted in a bit, but the vacation video is going to be featured. You'll see. I'll link that channel down below so you guys can check it out and see some of the past projects we've worked on. What was my point with that? Anyway, her and I are booked to shoot a wedding the beginning of August, and I'm definitely going to need this lens to do that. She has the 35 I mentioned earlier, so I didn't want to get the same lens, even though I love wide. I have a lens that can open up to 18 for that, so I decided that if I was going to get a main lens for that, I needed the 50mm 1.8. So that's where that purchase came from, and that's how it's going to help me in the future. That's why that's going in my gear bag from now on. The second thing I wanted to talk about is definitely less interesting, but still equally exciting to me. I've only been working on one battery since I got my camera, so I think it's finally time to pick up a couple extra. This is the Power Extra dual battery set. It has dual battery charging, so I can charge two and have one in the camera at the same time. It also comes with a car charger, so if we're on the go and need to plug him in, I'm good to go. I'll tell you, working with one battery is doable, and that's what I had, so I made the most of it. But like I said, going into the wedding and going on shoots, I realized if I was out there longer, I needed more battery power, and that's where those are going to come in. So this purchase was extra clutch, something that you just need. I was holding out for a long time, but I found a good deal, and I decided to pull the trigger and get those in my bag too. The third and final thing I wanted to talk about today is super exciting. I mentioned Claire and I went on a trip, and this is mainly what we purchased this for, but definitely intending to go on trips and having a more flexible camera to get the shots we definitely need and be a little more reckless with on a smaller package. I think you know where I'm going here. Claire and I ended up picking up the GoPro Hero 5 in black for this trip, as well as future adventures. This thing is a beast, let me tell you. Waterproof right out of the box, no need for the big case. Incredible, shoots 4K, can shoot up to 240 FPS. Finally made the investment, and man, some of the footage we got of this trip is incredible, and I can't wait for future trips to take this on and see what it really can do. Like I said, the video with the vacation is coming up soon, so please stay tuned for that. It's been really fun working on it so far. But yeah, we picked this up because we knew we were going to be on a boat. We knew we were going to be in the lake. We knew we were going to be adventuring around in the forest, and we didn't necessarily want to bring the big DSLR microphone tripod setup through there. You strap this on your head and you're good to go. Like I said, this is just a super fun thing to have. It has a nice smaller package, good quality camera to take with you. My mom peer pressured us into doing it, but these things I felt were necessary for the trip especially, and coming up in the future for the trips we have planned, and especially the gigs on the lens and the batteries. So that's it for gear that's been coming in recently. I decided to limit myself to a couple orders, and I know these things are kind of a big investment, but like I said, I've been working for a bit, and upcoming projects and upcoming gigs and adventures, I just needed to have a couple more things to help me take my cinematic and photo experience to the full level. But I mentioned earlier in this episode that I'm a firm believer in you should take what you have and make the most of it. Now let me explain myself. Getting gear is exciting and impulse buying is definitely tempting, but before you purchase gear, make sure you ask yourself, do you really need this, and how is it going to help me in the future? Let me explain. Like I said with this lens, I did buy it for the trip, and maybe that seems kind of silly to people, but I've been using the kit lens for quite a while, and I think I did all it was capable of doing, and I realized I really needed to step up my game a little bit, so I went with the 50mm. A couple reasons I did that is because it is a cheap, safe option to start investing into lenses. 50mm 1.8 comes in around $150, $200, depending on what kind of camera brand, and autofocus, non-autofocus, depending on what kind of lens you buy. You can get it cheaper, some more expensive. Always buy used. I got this refurbished. It's kind of the same thing. I got a good deal on it. Lenses are timeless. Always buy used. But this wasn't just an impulse buy for the trip. It's definitely going to be my main lens in the future, and we'll see how that works out. But just be careful of impulse buying. All the gear unboxings and gear tours definitely make it seem like you need this, and you need that lens, and you need this bag, and you need to put this microphone on to make you better. But what's going to make you better is taking what you have right now and getting out there and shooting. That's what I did with the kit lens for a year, and I was making fine videos on it, and you really learn how to use your equipment to its fullest extent. So I highly recommend use what you have, don't impulse buy. Learning to push your equipment to its full potential is going to make you better. The gear's not going to make you better. Secondly, being in this creative field, adding gear to your arsenal is almost addicting in a way. Everybody wants new toys, something comes out, you want to upgrade, you're bored of the stuff you have, you think, oh, if I have this, I would just go out and shoot, or I want to make this, but if I just had this, I could make it happen. No excuses. Your ideas can be made with the stuff that you have right now. Okay guys, that's it for me today. I just kind of wanted to go through some of the gear I've been picking up, why, and how it's going to help me in the future, as well as discuss when the right time to buy gear for you is. Thank you so much for watching, and comment what gear you've been picking up recently, or what you've been thinking over, searching on Amazon. Let me know what you guys are looking into. I'd love to read and have some discussions about gear with you in the future. And if you want to treat me like a magazine subscription, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks again, guys. Don't forget to take what you have right now and go make something great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.